Skip it up and that up. So this is something that I suspected about GameStop for a while, but now it's official. You ever go into a GameStop and you want to get a new game and they tell you it's out of stock, but they conveniently have it used? Well, they're doing that on purpose because they're being forced basically by GameStop corporate, the higher ups, to sell you used games. And if they don't sell enough, the employees that work at said store will be fired. The program, because this has even a name too, so I'm not playing, this is official, for GameStop employees to sell you used games as opposed to new copies of the game, is called the Circle of Life program. Now, yes, you're going to see me reading here because I don't want to give any misinformation. This comes from Kotaku, and this is how this Circle of Life program is put together by GameStop, let me tell you. Now, each GameStop store, okay, has a different percentage of quotas for 4 different things. 1, pre-orders. You ever go walk into any GameStop, even my local one, and I love those guys there. Anytime you go up to the counter, they got, hey, you want to pre-order this game? You want to pre-order this game? You want to pre-order this game? It drives me nuts, but I don't give them any backlash because I know it's their job, okay? So they have to ask for pre-orders. 2, reward card subscriptions. That happens. Oh, your reward card's, expiring, or hey, do you have a rewards card? I've seen that happen. Used game sales, I know, is GameStop's biggest bread and butter as of now. So that's it. They want to sell you used games as opposed to new ones because they make more profit on them. And game trade-ins. That's why when you ever call up a GameStop to ask if a game or a system is in stock, and they're like, hey, the GameStop, so blah, 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 where you could trade in used games towards the Nintendo Switch, let's say, for example. That's why they want it, because they make you trade into games, they give you fucking next to nothing for them, and then they could flip them, charge 3 times the price, and make a huge profit. That's why used games and trade-ins are a really big deal to GameStop. So each store, like Kotaku was saying here, has a quota, and say each store is going to have a different quota, and say my local GameStop, their quota is 30%. There's $1,000 transaction. Say you go in there and you're bowling and you want to buy a whole bunch of shit. GameStop corporate is expecting those employees and manager, whoever you're buying this stuff from, they're expecting 30% of that $1,000, okay, so $300, to be pre-owned shit. And if the employee doesn't do it or management doesn't do it and they don't meet their quotas, they're going to get shit canned. They're going to get fired because, that's a great incentive in a way to boost morale in your company, said no one ever. So say I walk into a GameStop and I don't hit any of these 4 points of Circle of Life for them. I don't pre-order a game. I don't subscribe for a new rewards card. I don't buy a used game, or I don't trade in games for whatever I'm buying, okay? It looks really bad and it hits their quota, that GameStop store's quota, big time. And someone could get canned if they don't consistently do this and always hit these 4 Circle of Life points. It's such corporate bullshit I've seen happen time and time again, not just with GameStop. So anyway, what's happening, because GameStop is really enforcing this and putting a lot of pressure on their stores, is that employees are basically being forced to straight up lie to you. And it's not just GameStop. I'm going to give you other examples too. I used to work in some retail jobs and I have perfect examples of this. So when you walk into a GameStop and you're looking for, I don't know, Kotaku says Yakuza 0, okay? And they may have 20 brand new copies, and maybe sometimes I have OCD, I don't want a used copy, and you want to pick up Yakuza 0 brand spanking new. They may straight up lie to you and say, no, we don't have it. We do have 10 copies used though. 10 copies used, because they're basically being forced to sell you the used fucking games. And if they don't, they could lose their job. So they're being forced to fucking lie to you. GameStop, that is so goddamn shady. And it kills me to throw shade at GameStop. I guess, or no, not throw shade, but basically call them out, because my GameStop, and even before I started, someone said to me, I think it was Dr. Trey. God, Dr. Trey, you're in all my fucking videos today. Dr. Trey said to me on YouTube, oh, Rich, your GameStop is really nice to you because they know you do YouTube. And I don't... See, even there was another GameStop where I used to live in my other apartment, and I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have... My channel was fucking tiny at that time. And they were really nice to me too. They offered me great customer service. And these guys at my local GameStop now, they're really nice to me. They're genuine. They've helped me out with orders. They've helped me. They're really friendly. And it isn't like a fake saccharine bullshit friendly, or like a veneer friendly. It's like they're genuine dudes. So it kills me to do this, but GameStop, why are you forcing your employees to do this? There's other incentives to your used games. For example, you could return a used game. You have, I think it's 7 days to get a full fucking refund for the price that you paid for that used game. When you go out and buy a brand new game, you crack open that seal, and it's not just GameStop, you can't return it. You got to keep the game, whereas if you buy a used copy, you can get a full refund if you don't like the game. That's a huge incentive. Why aren't you using that? Why are you basically making your employees, and you're not basically, you are making your employees lie to get fucking your used games off the shelves? That to me is a selling point. I've done that before where I'm like, I'm on the fence about a game and I'm like, hey man, you so-and-so behind the counter at GameStop, do you have a used copy? It'll give that a shot. And I felt more comfortable because I knew I could return it if I don't like the game. Huge selling point. Why aren't you using that? But it's the same corporate bullshit that all companies do, man. I remember I used to work, they're now dead, shockingly. I used to work when I was in college. When I from high school to college, I worked at Filene's. Fucking, it killed my soul working at a clothing store, but I worked there. And their whole thing was to get people to sign up for credit cards. You had to do everything but suck dick. And I think they would have let you suck dick to make it happen, to sign people up for Filene's credit lines. You had to bother the fucking shit out of people. And I didn't do it and I got in trouble because it was annoying. But it was just, and there was no incentive to it. I think it was like if you did 10 of them, you would get something ridiculous like $5 in your paycheck. Ooh. And even if there were people that were like, oh, there were robots there and they would borderline beg people to do it and they would get maybe 10 a month. So, oh boy, an extra $5 on my Filene's paycheck, which was shit already. Gee golly, I can't wait to beg 1,000 fucking people and get one person to sign up for a Filene's credit card. Yeah, Filene's, fuck you. But that's the same thing. It was you had to push, and there was no incentive behind it. It was ridiculous. And I remember later on too, and I made great money there. They still exist. I'm not going to call them out. I worked for a furniture store. And in the beginning, it was fantastic, man. You would be amazed if you work at the right furniture store, what kind of money you could make, okay? But then they realized that having sales brought in more people. I mean, obviously they knew this, but they're like, these sales, we do really well. Let's have a sale every week. Still doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But what they used to make us do is lie about the sales and say, oh, we only have a sale once a month or sometimes once every 3 months. So if you don't get this stuff today, all right, you won't be able to get this discount, which was a complete fucking bullshit. It was complete fucking bullshit. You could come back next week, the next Friday, and get the same fucking sale. It was I had to cringe and I had to lie and be like, oh, you can only get the sale this day. If you don't buy this stuff today, you won't be able to get it in. Maybe there won't be another sale maybe for months. Ooh, even though that's complete bullshit. In another 6 days from now or 7 days from now, you'll be able to get, and there may be even a better sale. And what bothered me too is when they started doing these weekly sales, because they did in the beginning for quite a while. We used to give discounts anyway, okay? Because if it was a big sale, there was so much competition, we didn't want people walking out the door. And now they had these sales, so they wanted to make these sales seem important. So let me step back a little bit. So what we used to do is give people discounts. If they were really serious about buying, we used to find ways. We used to if they opened up a credit line, same thing as Filene's, but this time there was an incentive. We would give them a pretty big discount because if they opened up a credit line, we would get a kickback and it would kind of balance it out. But once they started having these weekly sales, then they stopped giving the discounts. Be like, oh, you got to get him to come on Friday to get the discount. And I remember there was one time it was like a $20,000+ sale, which usually a person's like, can you give me any slack on this? And usually my boss would. But now his hands were tied and upper management above him said, nope, no more discounts. They have to come back on Friday. So they let the fucking person walk out the door, $20,000 sale, insane amount of commission, walk out the door because they wanted them to come back on Friday to make their sales, their bullshit sales that happened once a week, and they made you lie and say they happened like once a month, if not like once every 3 months. They let them walk out the door and they never came back. So I was like, I didn't quit that day, but mentally I did. So The point being is that retail is cutthroat, man, and corporations like these guys, they do bullshit like this all the time. I'm not giving GameStop any reprieve by bringing up these stories, but my point being is that the lies happen all over. Just like I said, the furniture store, they would try to make it like their sale was important. Just like Filene's would make you beg to give people credit lines, and there was no incentive to except congratulations, you're not fired. It's really what they don't understand is when places like GameStop do this, and there's no incentive behind it, when they shouldn't make people lie first and foremost. Sell them, like I said, on the whole thing that they could bring back the used games and get a refund. But when you don't give an incentive and you just threaten someone's job security to do this, it demoralizes them. They end up hating their job. Couldn't think of a better word. Hating their job and not wanting to walk through the fucking doors every day. Why? Why don't you want? Here's the thing. I understand that these companies, they look at these employees as a dime a dozen. But I used to, when I was in college, I left Filene's because I hated that. I worked at Circuit City Express. This is how long we're going back, and it was commission based, and it was fun to sell protection plans. It was fun to upsell people, and we were honest about it. We would tell them the features and tell them the benefits of it. And it was fun because not only, did you get to be yourself, but there was incentive behind it. There was a financial incentive. And I was like 18, 19, man, making really good money. So that made you want to do it more. It wasn't that you were being threatened. You were being incentivized to upsell, incentivized to get people to buy protection plans. And you were rewarded for it. And more things were sold. Now, of course, Circuit City, they got away from that and they went over to hourly wages, and people who were paying their mortgages working at Circuit City were now, making $8 an hour. So it kind of killed the morale. That was part of the reason Circuit City went under. But at the time when it was commission based, it was fun and it was amazing. And these companies, look, I know numbers, and if we gave, commission, we would lose XYZ amount of tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a year. But then you have loyal employees that give excellent customer service, and people want to come back, and people tell other people that they're getting excellent customer service. So you would balance out, the money that you're losing by offering commissions and things like that by getting more customers to walk in the door because they know they're going to get a great experience. But I know that's falling on deaf ears, and they don't care because most of these people are multimillionaires that are in these upper level positions that make up these concepts. And even if the company fails, they leave with their $20 million golden parachutes and don't have to work another day in their lives. So they don't really care about the company. They care about their own pockets. So it is what it is, man. GameStop, shame on you. The upper management, way up. That's forcing your employees to do this. You're making your employees slaves, and they hate you. They don't like you. And eventually, because of you doing shit like this, GameStop, you're going to be like Filene's, and you're going to become irrelevant and close down. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. GameStop, shame on you.